Today we will be building a deployer for the RemoteTech constellation, but first we need to plan some transfer windows, and those transfer windows are for Eve and Duna, obviously. Now let's quickly check. We have we have Moho. We're gonna just be adding the alarm, then we're gonna be adding another one, let's say Joule. I want to have transfers for more important destinations in the Kerbal solar system, so I just want to have those scheduled. I'm not saying that we're gonna be doing them right away, but it's good to have them scheduled because you never know when next might be coming. So that will give us a clear roadmap in terms of what we want to build and when we want to build it. So I was thinking even Dres. Yes, nobody goes to Dres, but there's science to be had there, so we might as well visit it at least with a flyby. So, onwards with the building our RemoteTech relays and constellations. I just want to check the first interplanetary explorer. That's actually the probe that it was going to Duna, and I actually would like to schedule it to go to Eve as well. So I'm gonna queue at least one of them, or maybe even two, just to be on the safe side. I want to have at least two explorers that could reach further into the solar system and get some science, which we can then use it to get more stuff, to get more science, to get more stuff, to get more science. As you can tell, we have a metric crap ton of science, which we actually need to research before we continue onwards. There are some of the components, including the large antennas, that I really planned on using. So yeah, I'm a little bit warping through the time because I really want my actuators, I really want my deployable hinges, and I really want the Communitron 30 freaking 2, because that... Now, with the actuators unlocked, I'm thinking we're gonna go unlocking one more product tier. I don't think we need to have unlocked everything, but at least we should go one more tier. And then very heavy rocketry I could leave maybe just later on. I don't care, it's gonna be done in 5 days anyway. Now, with the science nodes unlocked, it's time for us to dedicate the rest of this episode to building the most epic RemoteTech relay that the world has seen, which you have actually seen launched in the previous episode, but this is more of a like how to build it. And typically, I don't know, you guys seem to be liking these build episodes as a separate page. I also like to have it like separate. Normally, if it's a smaller craft, I will build it and then launch it. However, for the bigger deployer craft, where it actually takes me 1.5 hours to assemble everything, then I speed it up, and that means that you guys get to enjoy like 15 minutes of actual footage. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping that works for you. Do let me know in the comments below. As always, I'm always listening to your suggestions and feedback. But yeah, okay, so we're gonna be putting this one on this 1.25 meter actually, because those are bigger ones. And I do want them to be bigger ones because I want bigger batteries. After all, they are more powerful antennas in action, so we really do need powerful batteries to be able to fuel them completely. And it's gonna be a lot of. And all of them, for structural rigidity, will be hanging on these tiny little structural struts, which we will be placing in the middle. After all, we're building for Kerbals, aren't we? Yeah, which means this should be working fine. Now, that being said, I actually tend to use hinges a little bit. And, you know, I got tired of this just basic satellites that I was building. So I was thinking, what would happen if we did a little bit more, you know, deployable kind? And I was thinking, if I build such a deployable kind, it's gonna be mighty fun. So I might as well actually build something that looks cool, looks good, works good, and actually is kind of cool. I mean, it's nowhere near level, you know, the James Webb foldable stuff, but I think overall it will be kind of cool. So let me just see. I want to take the longer antenna. Yeah, this looks actually way better. So yeah, but I'm gonna be using another Foldatron. So let's see. Once we fold this, yeah, we have plenty of room. So if I put another hinge right at the bottom, yes. Okay, that actually looks a little bit, and that one turns up. That could work. That actually could work, but if I put it on the side, it might be even better. I'm not sure, I'm just trying to research. Okay, let's put the Communitrons, 2 of them, And once they deploy, they're gonna look actually pretty cool. Now, in theory, I need 2 of the DTSs, one for Moon, one for Minmus, because I think the most range of this sucker is Minmus, to be perfectly honest. But when it comes to that, I'm a little bit worried that if we go any further than that, then it's gonna be like chaos. Okay, let's limit the angles where this baby can deploy. So the actual hinge angle limit, I'm just gonna put like single symmetry, put it at the edge, right? Limit the angle, so it's -90 to 0, fine. Then we're gonna be deploying the second thing. We're gonna be duplicating this leg. And once that's done, I'm just wanna put fuse box to see how much power is this sucker consuming. Right, okay, cool. Now with these 2 guys deployed, what I want to do, I would in ideal case want to also have a deployable communitron at the edge, because those are a bigger range antennas that could actually be put for any other purpose. Yeah, so, and it actually, when it folds, it looks kind of cool. It looks all well thought out, almost as if I didn't design it. Yeah. Now, right, so now it's time to design the bottom portion, and I do want to have lights. I mean, guys, God knows I'm terrible with lights. I always mess up the lighting and everything, so my satellites tend to be very dark. And I'm trying to change that. Yeah, I know, I'm growing as a person. So we're gonna be putting this one to red, this one to green, to give it a little bit of flavor, if you will. Sort of like an nautical style. And then I'm gonna be placing the batteries, which will be right in the middle, just to ensure that we have plenty of lighting. Can we actually just put you a little bit above? Yep, there we go. Another thing. Oh, and you need to go a little bit up. I think this looks actually kind of cool. It gives a little bit more rugged vibe. And I know, yeah, those tiny batteries, who are we fooling? They're actually serve no purpose whatsoever. However, they will still perform enough. So yeah, how much delta V we have on this sucker? What about if we place something like that? That's 1056 meters per second. I would almost like to have a little bit extra battery capacity if that's the case. Yeah, okay, let's put this as a shell because I do want this thing to be hidden, right? And then we put this. Yeah. This actually does make sense to me. Nice. So we're gonna be calling it Kerbal Medium Relay Mark 1, and the idea that those should be going into 900 kilometer orbit, as you guys saw yourselves. So Fusebox is actually not telling me something. It's telling me like we don't have electricity. And obviously, when I'm looking at it a little bit more, it does make sense. You know why? Because, silly, I never put any solar panels on it, and I'm just trying to overcompensate with a metric crap ton of batteries. Yeah, darkness time. Okay, hold on. We're gonna be putting a couple of the batteries below. Yeah, that's like 900 delta V meters per second. That's still plenty, but I do need somewhere the solar panels. And then I realized, hold on, I need to put the solar panels. Yeah, go figure. Okay, so this actually, the Gigantor feels a little bit like an overkill, but I'm trying to find ones that don't. And I'm thinking this rotational circular feel actually pretty good looking from the sidelines. So I'm gonna remove these little batteries. They don't do any good whatsoever. However, these big fellas, when they deploy, they actually look kinda cool. So I just have to find a place where they will be looking a-okay, and I just need to rotate them by 90 degrees, hopefully. Yeah, something like that. So see, when they fold, they look pretty nice. And once they deploy, they will gonna work out of the box. Alright, so that means I need to trigger all the stage automations. One will be the solar panel, second will be the foldables at the same time. Okay, hold on, need to just correct the target angles and limits. This one too, yeah, correct them. And then we're gonna be put everything on the action group, and then we're just gonna be pressing buttons after we deploy, because after all, You know me, I like to put everything on action groups and then do everything manually once we're launched. Yeah, because usually between the time when I'm building an episode and I'm launching the stuff, it's usually 1 month. Yeah. Now, right, capacitors. Well, we don't technically need capacitors. Capacitors we might need when we're gonna be doing something, you know, electricity intensive. Now, relay medium, relay Mark 1. Cool. So now this relay needs to be rerouted and put as a sub-assembly. So once that's done, then we're gonna be building the deployer craft. So we're gonna start with the probe core, of course, as always, and then we need to put some electricity, control surfaces, and once that's done, we're gonna be placing that into, oh, and we need a track coupler because we're gonna be launching 3 of them. Okay, control surfaces, there we go. Now, let's see, can we do a deployer? Where is it? Now, decoupler, yes. And then we're gonna be putting this bad boy. And since I rerouted them, it's not a problem to put them like this. So the trick is rerouting. That's the 4th widget out of the 4 widgets that you have. You know, first is place, another is translate, rotate, and then reroute. Reroute being the most important one. Right. Okay, then we have this deployer craft. I mean, it feels a little bit underwhelming with the thrust to weight ratio of 0.59. I think I might need a bigger boat. So let's see, can we build a bigger boat? Like now, do we have any bigger engines? I'm trying to find one. Okay, I need 2 solar panels. Yeah, that can actually work. A little bit of lighting. There we go. Cool. And now I need an engine for this, and I think the Cheetah will be just perfect for it. Right. So now all of this needs to be encased into an even bigger fairing. Since this is 1.85, that means if I place the 2.5 fairing, that should be golden. But first let's put 1.875 decoupler, and then we're gonna be cramming everything into a bigger case fairing. There we go. Just close them up nicely so the rocket looks nice and sleek. Right, ejection force we're gonna increase obviously, and then we're gonna be placing them atop of the huge booster. Right, so if we have the reaction wheels, we have the controls. Now all we need is 3.5 thousand meters per second delta V to get this bad boy into orbit. Technically it's closer to 4, so maybe that should be considered. Now 1.66, 3.59. Well, it's good, but it's no cigar yet. We need to actually have a little bit more. Thrust to weight is good, it's 1.6, but I'm opting to do 4 fins, and then I want to have 2 side boosters at least, which will be pouring, you know, rocket fuel right into the core stage. Yeah, I know, fuel transfer while going upwards. It's a thing. Now, where do we have? We have these bigger ones. Yeah, they actually look kinda nice. Oh yeah, look at that. I do really like the aesthetic look of the rocketry's tanks, but okay, I think it's a little bit of an overkill, so I'm trying to find something that's like a middle ground. What about these 2 kickbacks? It's 0.97, that's too low thrust. What about the Polluxes? Okay, 135 and plenty of delta V. I like it. It's gonna have a slow start, it's gonna easy start going off, and then the rocket engine will take over, because at the first stage I'm gonna just firing up the boosters, to be honest. The core engine is gonna do very little steering and directional work. However, we need to introduce separatrons here, because separatrons are gonna be pulling these 2 boosters aside once they're spent, so they don't crash into the main stage. Right, okay, let's restage everything, and then we're gonna be building the launch tower. Now, for the launch tower, I don't want really anything fancy. Let's just put in here a little bit of a struts, so those things don't start dancing like wet noodles. And now custom group 10 is for the deployer, and now let's see. Okay, launch pad wise, I think we should go something for like Falcon Heavy. So if I manage to put the base, okay, Falcon Heavy config, yep, that looks about right. And then we need a launch railing. And if I manage to put it on the right side, that should be pretty much it. Right, okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not gonna turn any heads, but it will still be working fine. 5 degrees. Configuring this, okay, this will look like when it's launched, alright. And then rotation adjusts, forced percent, yeah, whatever. I'm really terrible when designing these launch pads. I have literally zero idea what am I doing. Fine. Right. Okay. Now. Okay, I think everything is staged, so let's go for the test. Okay, and igniting the engine, igniting the boosters. As said, I'm immediately throttling down the engine to a bare minimum, just to see like the test run and see how it goes. Guys, when it comes to more complex craft, I always test my rockets because we've seen how it goes when I don't test them. I mean, you get very, very, very expensive fireworks. However, this rocket seems to be going pretty well soon enough. I mean, it has a little bit of a slower start. It's arching through the cloud layer, and we are starting to tilt a little bit more downrange. And within the next minute or so, we should be hitting the sound barrier, hopefully. There we go, coming up on it, and smashing it. Right, nice. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with this design. It actually launches from the first, no really inherent kinks or weird behavior. Now, it's too early to tell. We obviously need to go through the booster SEP, which is going right about now. With the rocket being fully throttled, no problem, it's separated nicely, and the rocket is continuing towards space. Right. So the only thing that I still want detailed and thoroughly tested is going up to the altitude, deploying the satellite, unfolding the satellite, and making sure that it can perform its relay business. So once those tests are done, then I can safely say, okay, this is working and we're gonna be launching it. Alright, the apoapsis will soon reach 100 kilometers, at which point we let the rocket coast to its ascent phase. Now, in this case, oh, and we have apparently a solar eclipse on the parts of Kerbal. Now, I'm gonna use too many orbits because like there's literally too much information displayed. I actually do like the too many orbits mod. So that one actually helps me give clarity when there's too much clutter going around. Now, I'm just trying to figure out how much delta V we will have. And look, we still have 2.4 thousand of meters per second of delta V. So we will have plenty to circularize, plus to boost to the higher energy orbit to deploy the satellites. Right. We cannot forget that this is just a test, so we are just here to test everything and make sure that everything works. Now let's point maneuver prograde, and we're gonna be executing the burn right about at the node, which is gonna be happening rather soon, in 55 seconds to be exact. Now, we're gonna be turning on the lighting, as you can tell, and there we go. We're gonna be expanding the solar panels for the deployer so that we don't run out of juice, and then once we circularize, we're gonna be just briefly testing the deployment for this simulation. By the way, guys, do let me know how do you like the series so far. I'm pretty much enjoying doing it. However, I always am looking out for your best feedback, so do let me know how it's going. In the future episodes, I do plan to be launching more Eve stuff, Tuna probes, and even start building the more complex probes that should be going further. Now, at the moment, we are only limited with our communications range. I think we have enough technology to get us very, very elliptical and very high orbits, actually. I think we could theoretically reach even Dres. For Joule system, I'm not sure. Those of you guys who are active in the RemoteTech, can you tell me in the comments, do we have, how far are the Joule and its moons when it comes distance-wise? Is it 200 million meters or is it more? Alright, so there we go, just planning for a brief test, and I'm trying to figure out how much delta V I need for the circularization and if I have it. Seems like I will have enough for the circularization, and then we have the transfer stage, plus each of the probes should have its own thing. So all in all, I think we have succeeded once again in over-engineering this damn thing to oblivion. Now, cool. Let's just deploy one satellite and do a couple of tests on it. So we're going to be decoupling, let's say this guy. Then we're immediately going to switch to it. And we have to deploy the fairing, extend the antennas, and do everything else. So, what do we have here? Let's try out. First, we activate the engine, and we turn the SAS on. We turn the correct orientation, and once it's done, we're going to start deploying. 1. Look how it looks. 2. Nice. 3. Look at that dance. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it glorious? And 4. And that's pretty much it. To me, that tells me that these satellites are working and they look pretty cool. So all in all, it's only a matter of testing everything that it works, and we do have 700 meters per second. So overall, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna be queuing those bad boys up, probably one of them. And I thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna be seeing you in the next episode.